Hello people! Today I'm going to be doing a set of leopard print nails. I know they're not very springy, but I've been feeling like doing leopard print for a while and I got the perfect opportunity now. So I'm going to have some pre-prepped long stiletto tips. And I'm going to go in with Makartt polish. It's a brown. Looks kind of reddish there, but if you do the two coats, which you'll see when I do the pinky, eventually it does look really brown. These particular nails are going to be hopefully purchased by a drag queen, so that's why they're the extra large looking ones. And I'm getting very sloppy. Okay. I'll tell you later the whole drag queen story as to how I know drag queens. But let's get through this first part. Okay, now on the other two, I'm going to paint like a squiggly line down the center. Now I started off on this first one just using the brush out of the bottle, but then I wasn't real happy with the way it was looking. So when I do the later ones, I'm doing it with my detailer brush and it's a lot neater. And in the meantime, I'm going to fix this one up. As I get myself situated, clean up the edges a lot better, make it look a lot nicer than the sloppage that it looks like now. Now we're only going to be doing one coat on all the nails except for the pinky, because the rest of them are going to have the foil on there, the leopard print foil. I'm just trying to level that polish out a little bit more so I didn't have any real thick spots. And we'll get this other one done as soon as I clean up the mess off my gloves. And now I'm seeing how I managed to get the gel products all over everything, because sometimes it gets on my gloves. If I'm working with like a clear, it gets on there and I don't even see it. So with having the colors on, like these darker colors, I can see how I'm getting it on me, where it's coming from. Hopefully I can do it in an effort to not spread it around all over my tools. I think I have gotten a lot better at that. I'm making a real effort to clean off everything I've touched at the end of each session instead. So the last time I just did my own nails, I did not end up with a big bad breakout again. So I'm guessing that's the trick. I just need to be neater at cleaning up my stuff. And once again, I'm just going to neaten this up, fill it in a little better. Smooth it out so I don't have any real thick areas that are going to wrinkle up on me. And when I'm happy, I will give those a cure. I cure them for 60 seconds. I think they cure in 30, but I just always cure everything for at least 60 unless I'm flash curing. Okay, those have been cured. Now I'm going to go in real quick with the second coat on the pinky. And now you can see that this is a much nicer looking brown now that we got two coats on there. It's a real chocolatey brown. And that has gone in and been cured. I'm going to go in on top of the pinkies with this cat eye gel, which I just got recently off of AliExpress, and I wanted to try it out, so I decided to throw it in on this set. It's kind of a goldish color cat eye. But I'm just going to go and give it a decent layer of this. Now I did try to work this with the square or the rectangular magnet, but I was not getting it to do what I was anything I was liking. Now, I don't work with this cat eye stuff very often, so I don't really know what I'm doing, so I just like play around with it. But I went in with the littler roundy side of the magnet and got it to at least look like something before it was just completely wiping it out. So it's got at least some kind of a pattern going. I was mostly happy with that. Give it a little push again. I have to say, I have seen some really gorgeous nails done with this cat eye where they've done it in so many different layers and steps. It just looks incredible when it's done. I have not tackled any of that yet. Okay, we're getting ready for the foil, so we're going to go in on all these except the cat eye, and we're going to give them a thin layer of foil glue. Now this stuff will wrinkle on you like nobody's business if you get too much on, so you really want to keep it thin. Also, what I learned doing these, this was the largest set of a nail. These were the largest nails that I have done a full coverage foil on, so I did have some problems. It did take me a good while. So now I'm only putting the foil glue obviously on the brown part, but back to the foil. So what I learned is it took me so long to get the 2 full coverage nails done on the rack that the foil glue that's on these squiggly ones, it sat there for too long and it wasn't quite as sticky as I would have liked it to be. So what I recommend and what I did on the second rack is I just foil glued the 2 full coverage ones first, and I covered those, and then when I was done, then I went back in and did foil glue on the squiggly line ones, and then did those 2. On this rack I did all 4 of them at once, and it didn't go so well. Now if you weren't doing nails that were this large, if you were doing smaller ones, you could probably get away with doing all of them at one time. Like, don't do all 10 at one time. Like, do the 5 at once and then foil them, then do the other hand. Because I've done that before without a lot of problems, but this one did give me some trouble. If you're new with foil, I would recommend maybe doing 1 at a time instead of getting too many of them with the foil glue going at once. Now I don't really remember what the curing time is on this foil glue. I just cure it for 60 seconds and it seems to do fine. It seems to me when I first got it and I read the directions for it, it had a longer curing time. That is the leopard print foil we're going to use. Now this first part is me trying to figure out which way I'm going to go with it. And once again, I warn you, make sure you have it lined up exactly where you want it before you put it down. I made the mistake on this particular one of not quite getting it close enough to the edge, so you can see that little sliver that's not getting covered on the edge there. Now I sped this section up, I think, to double time because it took me so long to get this covered. So I'm just going to continue smoothing out these wrinkles and rubbing it on, pressing it, rubbing it with my nail. Eventually I'll get the silicone tool out. But while I'm doing all that, I mean, you can watch it. It's kind of self-explanatory. I will tell you how it is that I know drag queens. My oldest son and his husband own a bar, and every Saturday night they have a drag show there. So when I be going out to, for the last couple years, every time I go out to visit my parents, which they live fairly close to my oldest son, we always, one of the nights I'm out there, we always go to the bar to, you know, show support. And so eventually, hanging out at the bar and going to all these drag shows, I have made friends with some of the drag queens. Which now, 10 years ago, if you would have asked me something like that, I would have never in a million years thought that you know, this would be what I was doing. But anywho, I'm going to be going out there again in a couple of weeks. So I've decided to take the opportunity to make a couple of sets of nails sized for the queens, so that I can hopefully sell them while I'm out there, because I really seriously need to sell some of these. I don't know what the second one's going to be yet, but I had been wanting to do a leopard print for a while now. So that's why I did this one. Now, you see I put that back down on there because there was some spots on the side that it didn't transfer. That's another point, and I think I made this in the last video where I just used foils. Don't yank it all off in one big swoop, because if there's any area that is not where it didn't transfer, it's really hard to line it exactly up again. So if you just take it off a little bit at a time, if there's something that didn't transfer, you can just lay it immediately right back down. Now there was a couple little spots on here still that didn't come out great, like there on the tip, I think. And there's that one whole edge that I just didn't get my foil over there far enough in the first place. So I am going to get a spot here and try to get this back on that little tip that didn't get coverage. Being that this is kind of a busy leopard pattern, I wasn't super worried about matching anything up. There, see that little strip where it looks kind of reddish? I'm going to put more foil glue, just a tiny bit along that edge, and then I will set that back into cure. And while that's curing, I will get on the other one. We'll get the other full coverage one done. So anyway, that's how I have drag queen friends. The one girl that's the MC of the show. Every now and again, I'll make her some nails for free, and then she kind of takes my, if I make nails like I'm doing now to take to the shows, she will take them back in the back and let the girls see them, and hopefully I will sell them. At least it worked out good for me last time, so I'm going to do it again. A good while ago, I had done a set of military type nails that I had posted. I didn't do a video for those, but I had made them for her specifically. And I had to do 2 sets because I didn't know her sizes. And it turns out the first set I did was perfectly sized for her, so she was able to sell the other set to one of the other girls for me, which I wasn't expecting, so that was really nice. But anyway, I've got to start making some money on these nail sets because I am spending a lot of money on products and stuff, nail art stuff, and I'm just not doing well at selling anything. I think a big part of the problem is I'm not good at promoting myself. I'm just not good at that stuff. I don't like it. I feel uncomfortable doing it. So anyway, let's get back to the important stuff. You can see I'm just rubbing away at this one. Yeah, doing these full coverage on these extra large nails like that, I was not expecting it to be quite as much, like a little more difficult than the ones I've been doing normally. You can see, oh, there's the top of my head. You can see where it's coming away from the transfer paper on most of it. Now there will be some, I think there was some on this one. Okay, the problem I had with this one, I don't know if it was this foil or what, but see how it's kind of grayish along the edge of there? The foil, when I took it off, like flipped up onto itself. So where it looks grayish, you're seeing the underside of the foil. So I'm just using the silicone tool, and I think I ended up getting something else to kind of like fold it back down so it's hanging off the edge and I can get it off of there. I think I resorted to something else here in a bit to get that to come down because it did not want to unstick from there. And here's me fishing around for the tools again. Okay, eventually I'm going to get it off of there. There we go. And then I will just go along with whatever I don't get off the edge with the silicone tool. I will take a file and just run it gently along the edge to get the excess stuff, the excess foil stuff off of there. Make sure there's nothing hanging off the edge. I think I did go back on the other one and do that too, but I may not show that. Okay, once we've got that smoothed off and I'm happy with it, we're going to move on to the squiggly line ones. Oh wait, no, we got to fix this one still. This is the one that was missing the edge part. Okay, and once again, I'm not worried about matching this up with this pattern. We're just going to put this edging on here. Now I will be painting a gold outline around the edge there, so it doesn't have to be fully perfect, but I wasn't sure how thick my outline was going to be, so I wanted to make sure I got it covered as good as I could. And now I'm just going to go over it with the silicone and just kind of, this will clean off any of the part where it's like loosely flapping up, where it's not glued down. There's another part where it was flipped up. Okay, I think we're going to be happy with that now. And now we move on to the squiggly line ones. Now this one, like I said, I had a little bit of an issue because I think the foil glue sat too long. Now I have sped this up. I might have already said that, but I sped this up to double time because it did take me so long to get all these on there. This particular foil I got off of a pack of, I don't know, a dozen different foils maybe. There was like one piece of each kind in there in the pack of maybe a dozen different ones off AliExpress. So this is not one of the more, what I would consider high quality foils. So that may be why I was having some trouble with some of this. Clearly I missed a spot on there again. The one good thing about working with these extra large nails is they're easy to hang on to. When you work with those little tiny ones, especially the shorties, man, I have the worst time holding on to them when I'm trying to do stuff. Okay, now I'm just going to go in with this and I'm going to kind of scrape off the stuff that's where there was no glue that's hanging over the edges of that squiggly area. I'm just going to pull off any of the excess. And of course I'm mostly out of shot now, so you can't totally see it. But I think you get the gist of what I'm doing. I'm gently scraping this. I'm not like really scraping it hard. What I am doing is creating a massive mess of all these little foil bits that are everywhere. They were all over the place when I got done with this set. And then I'm going to go and brush it, see if I can get any more loose little tiny bits off. Now I'm going to be painting down the edges of those lines with the gold too, so they don't need to be perfect. I just wanted to try and smooth them out for the most part. And that is basically how we do the squiggly ones. I don't think I'm show any more of that. I do the rest off camera. So after I'm done messing with this one, we'll be moving on to another part, unless I do show you one more. Not now, I don't remember. Okay, there we go. And we're going to pop it back on the stand. Okay, so that I did do the rest off camera. Now we're moving on to the glitter. I just wanted a little sprinkling of glitter on those clear sides of the squiggly ones. So I'm going to start off with this dark brown. And then I was going to use one of those other ones near the top of that, but they looked a little bit too coppery for what I was doing. And so then I had to fish around in my drawer again. And I have come back with a more yellow gold one, which is what I'm going to mix with that brown. I don't need a whole lot of this, so I'm just mixing up a little bit. Okay, eventually I'm just going to mix it up, and then I'm going to swirl it around a little bit. And voila, there we go. Brown and gold mix. Okay, and I will start off going in on the side edges with base coat. I'm just going to paint the base coat on the side edges where there's nothing. You want to avoid getting it on that center part, otherwise you're going to get glitter stuck on there, and I didn't want any on that part. Okay. I started off sprinkling it on, and then I just wasn't getting enough of it on there, so I kind of ended up then dabbing it on with the brush. But I'm not going for solid coverage with this. I just want like a sprinkling on there. Just a little bit. Okay, that's all we're putting on there. Just a little sprinkle. So that'll be ready to go in for curing. I'm just going to show you this other one, I think, and then the rest of them I will do off camera. Okay, we're just doing the same thing. And that should be good, I think. Nope. Okay, any day now. Alright. Now those are going to go into cure. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm going to pat them down just to get the glitter and make sure it's laying flat. I forgot to do that on the other one, so I'm going to pull it back out of there and do it. And those have gone in to be cured. I just did all 4 of them. And now I'm going in with a generous layer of base coat over all of it to smooth them out, kind of level them off, and get the glitter to be smoothed out more. I think before I started with the base coat, I think I went over them with my brush and just, you know, with my a soft brush, and gave them a once over to get off any loose glitter, because I didn't want to end up brushing it into the center part of those if it was loose. And we get one more with the base coat. And once I'm done, I'll give those a cure for 60 seconds. And they're cured and back out like magic. Now we're going over them again with a tempered top coat to get them nice and smooth. Now these came out so smooth I didn't have to do any buffing, so yay. Now I did put a pretty generous layer of this top coat on, so I wanted a nice smooth surface when I was painting the gold on here in a bit. It's always nice when I don't have to do the extra steps of buffing and extra filing and all that. Have I mentioned how much I hate filing? Oh, it's the worst. I like to do the creating in that part, the kind of like maintenance stuff I don't like doing. And I'm going to hold these upside down for a little bit before I cure them, just because I put such a heavy layer on. Okay, then I'm going in with this. This is the Venelisa Mud Gels. I had bought a set of these recently. I mainly bought them because I was going to use them as paints. But as I was swatching them, I was pleasantly surprised that they were nice and creamy. I got good coverage with them. So I probably will use them as polish on some if I want those colors for something. But anyway, I'm using this gold one to do my lines. Now I started off putting a little on the palette. That didn't last very long because it's super thick and I was having a hard time just getting enough on my brush to get a decent line going. So in a short while I'm going to switch to just using it straight out of the pot. But what I'm going to just do here is I'm going to outline down both sides of the squiggly line. Of course, it would be nicer if I was in frame more, but I'm sure you get the gist of it. But we're going to outline both sides down the squiggly line. It doesn't read very well on camera, but it did show up a lot nicer. Seems like after it was cured, it looked a lot more solid and more of an intense color. Also, see, now I'm switching to just the pot. After I get the squiggly lines on here with this, then I will go and outline the whole nail with this stuff. Yeah, I'm having a hard time picking enough of it up on my brush to get a nice solid line. When I swatched this one and I was, smoothing it out flat on a whole nail, it went on really nicely and had a really nice gold color to it. I had a different one of these I was going to use instead of this one, but it was too coppery colored and I wanted more of a gold. Now you can't see, but I'm starting the outline of the nail, I think, now. We'll just go around the entire nail along the edge with a nice thin line. Sorry, we're out of shot a lot on these. I'm really trying to keep them in. This one doesn't show up as well because of all the glitter that's on the sides of these, but at the end it will show up nicely, you'll see. I was trying to get a nice thick blob of it on my brush too. I could just lay it down there and spread it out, but getting a big blob to pick up when the gel is super thick and the brush is super skinny was not going so great. It did take me a while. I think I sped this up to double time because it did take me a good while to do these. And I think that's that one done. I also had a hard time getting them back on the rack. Well, first of all, my gloves get stuck underneath those when I'm trying to put them on, so then I can't get my hand out. Then I was accidentally touching the under edge of those and getting gold the gold polish on my nails. I need to clean that off before I need on my gloves. See, I bumped that one as I was putting it on there, so I gotta fix that now. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the thumbnail, and I'm just gonna outline this whole thing. This part will go a little quicker because I'm just doing the outline. Now I did go back in after these were all cured and do a second coat on just the outline part of all of them because I wanted it to be a little bit heavier than what it ended up being. Once I get this done too, I'll do the rest of them off camera so you won't have to sit through me painstakingly painting all these outlines on here. This was kind of a new thing for me because I've never done an outline set before. Personally, I don't care for them that much, but it did really set off this set without me having to do a bunch of extra embellishments and stuff on here, so I do like the way it looks on this one. This one kind of reminds me of those cowrie shells. It kind of has that same pattern to this one, as this design, as this leopard print. It reminded me of that because I happen to have one of those shells in my bathroom that has gold around the edge of it, and that's what this is reminding me of. Right. I think I'm going to be satisfied with that. And I will do the rest off camera, like I said. And there they are. They've been all cured. And now we are going to go in with the final top coat. Once again, I'm using the tempered top coat. And I'm going to give them a decent layer of that. These big extra long ones kept wanting to turn around as I was trying to get them back on the rack, and then they would like spin around. My gloves would get caught underneath the edge of the nail stand, so I try to get that off without the nail like turning around and hitting the other ones. See, we're almost done. We got one more up there. Ooh, I almost dropped that one. See, my glove is stuck under there again. Ah! Ugh. That happens all the time. I have to wear the gloves when I'm working on these on the racks. It always gets stuck under there as I'm trying to put it on. If the gloves would fit my fingers a little bit more snugly instead of having all these big extra bits hanging out, I wouldn't get caught like that so much. Okay, there we are, ready to cure. Now, I have taken those squiggly line ones out and I'm flipping them over. I've cleaned them all off underneath, and now I'm going to give them a very thin layer of the top coat underneath. So that will make the clear parts be nice and clear. Now you're going to see me wiping my brush off a lot after I get this on here initially, because I'm going to try to pull off as much of it as I can, because I don't want it to pool up there in the middle as it sits there. And once I get all of these coated, I will go over them one final time, give them a final swipe, and try to get any excess out of the center that might have pooled up under there. You don't want a lot under here because you don't want it to get real thick in the center, then it's not going to fit right. But I do need to make them so they look clear once they're done. Because being that I have etched them all underneath and taken the numbers off, which I do with all the sets as part of my prep, they're kind of cloudy looking underneath. Okay, now I've cleaned off the excess, and there they are. There's the finished set, all cured up, ready to go. If you liked my video, please give me a like and subscribe if you want to see more. I really do appreciate all you guys watching these. And thank you very much. I will see you next time.